Welcome to Money, Manifestation, and Business, the podcast that shows you how to use your energy, intention, and consciousness to reprogram your money mindset, unleash a new level of possibility, and create a life and business that lights you up. I'm your host, Jamie Berman, and I invite you to join me each week for a dose of inspiration, coaching, and teachings to help you rewrite your money story, create abundance on your terms, and grow your business in a way that's fully aligned for you. This is going to be so much fun. Let's dive in. Episode 1 of the podcast. What? Oh my gosh, it is here. This is a manifestation in and of itself for me. So I am so excited. And this is something I have truly been manifesting for a little minute. When I say little minute, I mean a few years. Like, no joke. I had my website done probably like 5 years ago. And I had my web designer put a podcast page on there thinking I was going to start it back then. But honestly, I've been waiting until the moment that it felt like a full body yes to get this started. I didn't want this to be something that I had to force myself to do every week or, have on my to-do list and something that I was going to be in resistance around. And honestly, it feels like the right time because I have so much that I want to share, so much that wants to come out of me. I just can't wait. And I can't wait to share it all with you. So thank you so much for being here and tuning in and listening. So let's dive into episode 1, why don't we? Okay, today we're going to talk about something that I think is so important in business and in manifestation. And that is self-authority and intuition. All right? So what are we talking about here? What are we talking about whenever I say self-authority? So I'll give you my kind of download on what the way that I'm thinking about this. So self-authority is really your ability to trust yourself, your ability to tune into yourself and see what is right for you and what is not for you, to be discerning and to use your intuition to do that. And I honestly believe that our intuition can be our greatest guide in business. That's not to say that you're not going to have teachers and mentors and coaches and experts that you follow, but I believe that our intuition leads us to them. Our intuition leads us to the right people. And then we can use self-authority and self-trust to kind of discern what's for us and what's not for us. And with that, we can craft our own unique way of doing business that works for us as individuals. Because we are all unique individuals and no two businesses are going to look exactly the same, right? We're all going to have our own way that works for us and things that we're gifted at and that we really like doing. And we're going to have our own unique way. So learning how to develop self-authority and step into trusting yourself and tuning into your body, your intuition, what works for you is going to, I believe, make the process of creating business and manifesting in business so much more fun, so much quicker, and it's going to allow you to have a business that is fully aligned for you, that you actually enjoy working in and being in, not something that you feel like you have to do and have to show up for and have to do all of these tasks that you just absolutely hate that drain you. I don't think that's the best way to do business. That's just my thought. All right. So let's dive a little bit further into self-authority and intuition and how to practice this in a way that's going to really serve you not only when listening to this podcast and learning, the different teachings that I have to offer and things that I have to share, but how to use this within everything that you're learning in your life and in your business. So that no matter what expert you're listening to, no matter who your coach is, if you have a coach, no matter what kind of course you're taking or what kind of guidance you're getting, you're able to really tune in and see what works for you. And this is something that I've had to learn myself because I used to be one of those people who would be like, okay, tell me what to do, and I'm going to try to follow it exactly like that, even if it totally feels out of alignment for me, even if it doesn't quite feel right for me, or it's not something that's like natural or something that I like doing. I would just force myself to do it because I'm like, hey, they were successful. That must be the way. So I would try to force myself to do things exactly like someone else. But things didn't really feel in alignment. After a while, I had felt like this business just doesn't feel like me. I felt like I wasn't enjoying it. I was burning myself out with a task of things that I was just forcing myself to do every week to try and be successful, to try to make it happen and make it work. And it wasn't until I started to develop this skill of building and trusting my own self-authority that I was able to create a business that is fully aligned for me, that I feel like I love showing up to, I love being in, that feels fully like me. It feels like home. All right. So I'm going to share some of the practices that have really helped me with this so that you can implement them again, no matter where you're showing up to, no matter where you're learning or who you're learning from or what book you're reading, you can use these practices. And another thing that this will help you do before I get to the practices is it will help you develop your unique way and your unique messaging. This is also the thing that has helped me step into thought leadership and develop my own unique way of doing business that I now teach to others, and to others that it resonates for them. So as you do this, I think it helps you step into more of that leadership role rather than being just the student. So here we go. I'm going to teach you some of the things that have helped me the most. Number one, anytime I'm listening to a podcast, I'm listening to a teaching or a course or reading a book or wherever I'm consuming information, whatever it is, one of the things that I like to do is take what they are saying, they as in the experts or the mentors or the teachers, and try it on for myself. I like to imagine that it's like whenever I'm learning, right? I'm like walking into my favorite clothing store and I'm gathering all of these clothes and I'm like, this looks interesting. I wonder if that'll work for me. I like that. I'm gathering clothes and I'm going into the dressing room to try them on and see if they fit my body. You may be wondering, well, Jamie, how do you try on perspectives and thoughts and ideas and business concepts the way that you do clothes? And I'm going to teach you how you do that because you can totally try it on your body because our body always knows our truth, our way. Our body is such a great way to access our inner knowing and our intuition. So here's how you try perspectives and ideas and business concepts on your body. You take it, you say, if I believed that, if I thought that, how would it feel if that were true? How would it feel in my body? So, for example, let's say I'm listening to some marketing expert that I'm learning from, and they say something like, the best way to grow your business is through TikTok. You just have to post 3 times a day on TikTok to build a massive following and get lots of clients. Sounds awesome, right? Maybe for some. Here's what I'll do. I take their thought, because you have to remember that's their thought, that's their paradigm, that's their way, that's what worked for them, that's their unique style and clothing that fits them. So I get to take it and I get to try it on for me and say, if that were my thought, if that were true, how would it feel? So I would say, okay, if it were true that the best way to grow your business is through TikTok, posting 3 times a day, and that's how I'll get all my clients, how would that feel? For me, that feels kind of closed. It feels like not that great. It doesn't feel exciting or expansive. It feels like resistance. And it doesn't feel like resistance because it's like a growth edge for me. I could do it. I could force myself to, but it's more like I don't want to have to post on TikTok 3 times a day. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of energy for me. So it doesn't feel good in my body. It feels closed. It feels like, I don't think so, right? And I'm not saying that trying these perspectives on always has to feel really good, like rainbows and daisies, but it just has to feel true. And for me, that doesn't feel like truth. It doesn't feel like, yes, that's my way, right? So that's when I know, okay, I can use my self authority and my intuition and discern that they can keep that thought. And I get to choose my way. They can keep that thought. I'm going to choose what feels better for me, because there is no one way to do business. There is no one truth, right? So then I get to decide, okay, well, what might be my truth, right? So let's say I hear someone else that offers another perspective and they say something like, the best way to grow your business is to follow what lights you up, to find your own unique marketing strategy that aligns with your natural gifts. If someone said that, I get to take that, try it on, put it in my brain and say, ooh, what if that were true? How would that feel? And to me, that feels expansive. That's how I know it's aligned for me. I know that's a fully aligned strategy for my unique self, right? So that's how we try on perspectives, concepts, thoughts, ideas. It's we check in. If I believed this, how would it feel for me? And again, it might be expansive. And that's when you know, ooh, yeah, we're headed in the right direction. If it feels really closed, maybe not. And it also may not always feel good, like I said, but sometimes we'll try on a thought and there's just this knowing, and we're like, ooh, even though that feels kind of scary or it feels like a growth edge, that rings true. That feels right, but that's scary, right? So, like I said, it's not always going to feel like 100% fun and expansive and yay. Sometimes it just feels like truth. It's like, ooh, yup, that's my next growth edge, right? Sometimes it feels a little scary, but we just know it's for us. So that's what I want to encourage you to do as you're listening to this podcast, is consistently be checking in with what I'm sharing to see what rings most true for you, what you want to try on for yourself. And I want to encourage you to do it with a light touch, not to take anything too seriously. Honestly, I like to think of manifestation as just this fun game. It's not that serious. I encourage you to not try to get it right. This whole right and wrong and, oh, there's a perfect way to do it, that's just us getting stuck into perfectionism. And it really doesn't serve us whenever it comes to creating. Manifestation is another word for creation. It's just the process of creation, right? So I want to encourage you to experiment, if something feels like, oh, that could be interesting, maybe your brain is kind of like, I've never thought of it that way. That's a new idea. That's a new concept. But it feels right. It feels like that could be awesome if that were true, or that just feels right to me. What I would encourage you to do is just play with it, experiment with it. Let yourself Like, let yourself just say, well, let's just try this on for a month. What if I believed this for a month? What if I played with this concept for a month? That's honestly how I found that manifestation works for me, because of course, the logical part of my brain, whenever I wanted to bring manifestation into my business and really lean on my intuition and trust that things could work out and lean on my beliefs over my more logical brain that told me I had to work 24/7 and do all of the awful, hard things that I didn't enjoy and burn myself out to be successful. That's what the logical brain wanted to do. But I had to lean on and say, what if I experimented with the idea that manifestation could be my business plan and that I could manifest results in my business? Meaning I could lead with the way that I think. What if I prioritized the way that I think over me hustling for results, over me overworking? What if I leaned on beliefs? What if I started to change my relationship with money and started to upgrade my money mindset and believed that thoughts really do become things? That I can align my energy with that of which I want to create and manifest, and that it could become, that could be my way. Of course, my brain was like, what are you doing, Jamie? This is cuckoo. But I held it as a 1-year experiment. I was like, I'm just going to test it out for a year. What's the worst that could happen? The worst that could happen is it doesn't work. And then I can go back to my old way of hustling for results and burning myself out, right? Even though I was like, I don't think so, right? I was like, I can find a way between the two if it doesn't work. But it worked. And it's because I was willing to just play with it, try it on, experiment with it. So that's what I would encourage you to do as you are learning new things here, as you're trying new perspectives on, is just play with it, right? We're playing dress up. That's all that's happening. It's like you're trying on a new style. You're trying it out. It may not feel like, right? If you were doing that with clothing, it might not feel comfortable at first. Maybe you're trying on a new look that's more bold than you're used to, or more colors than you're used to, or it's more accessorized. At first, it might feel a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe it's a new hairdo, right? And you're like, oh, this feels different. People are noticing me. I don't know, right? It's going to be the same when you're trying on new perspectives and new concepts. It's going to feel different than what you're used to. And that's totally, totally okay. Just have fun with it. Don't take it too seriously. Again, don't try really hard to get this right, because there isn't one way to manifest. There's really not. You're going to find the way that works for you, the way that you can create in your business. You're going to find the thoughts that really serve you and that work for you, the concepts that you love. And then you can leave the rest. All right? So don't only do that with this podcast, but do that with everything. And suddenly you will realize, oh my gosh, I have a life and a business that is so fully aligned for me because I only took on the ideas that served me, that rang true for my soul and my spirit. And that's why you're going to have a business that is the business of your dreams. All right? So excited for you. And I'll see you next week for another episode. Hey, thanks for listening. I hope this episode is something that you'll be able to add to your manifestation toolbox to come back to when you need a little extra motivation. If you like what you've heard today and want to take it deeper, you've got to come check out my signature coaching program, the Money Manifestation Movement. It's the place where you'll not only learn manifestation, but you'll begin to live it alongside me and an amazing community of like-minded entrepreneurs doing this work together. Head on over to jamieberman.com to learn more.